Hey Geeks, welcome back to the Geeksider Show. I'm Josh.
I'm Anna.
And in this video, we're going to be talking about Critical Role Campaign 3, Episode 2. So if you haven't seen it yet and you want to avoid any spoilers, skip this video and come back later because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler. This was a super fun episode.
It was.
Really loved it. I want to talk about Laudna first.
I love Laudna so much. Like every episode, I feel like I fall in love with her a little bit more.
And we're 2 episodes in, so
yeah, I know.
But I will say, just visually, it looks like Marisha is having more fun playing Laudna than she did Keyleth or Bo.
Yeah.
Not that she didn't have fun before, but it just looks like she's having more fun like this time.
Maybe she connects with this character more.
I think she really likes being creepy too.
Yeah, that could be it. Like, one, I've noticed Marisha is like super in character, and like Marisha's always been pretty good about being in character, especially in campaign 2. I really noticed this, but like she's super in character. Like even when she's not doing anything actively and she's just kind of watching other people do their role playing thing, she's still in character. It's amazing.
And it's pretty much confirmed now, I think, that Laudna is a Hollow One, which is from Exandria's Guide to Wildmount.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, of course, I mean, it's obvious now that I think about it. Of course it's from their book.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking, I had no idea what a Hollow One was until she did an ability, and I Googled it, and I was like, oh, hey, that's a Hollow One.
I'm going, maybe she's a Dampier, maybe she's a Hexblood. Didn't even think of Hollow One, but of course she's a Hollow One.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense.
And her rat with the crow...
Pate de Rolo.
Pate de Rolo, which I think, to me, that confirms she is not a de Rolo.
No.
What it does confirm to me is that she has some kind of animosity for the de Rolos.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean necessarily that she's a Briarwood. I think it just means she might have been on their side during the Whitestone conflict.
See, I'm not entirely sure that she was on the Briarwood side. I'm kind of more of the opinion that the de Rolos, particularly Percy, who is part of Vox Machina, wasn't able to save her. And so she has a grudge against the de Rolos for allowing the Briarwoods to take over and doing what they did for the town. I don't think that she was necessarily on the Briarwood side, though.
And you had mentioned, like half an hour ago before we started filming even.
I remember during Vox Machina, when they first get to Whitestone, there were like bodies hanging in the tree. And I don't remember what happened with those. I do remember them being there when they were like dressed up as members of Vox Machina.
They were hanging from the sun tree or something.
Yeah, they were obviously a message for Vox Machina. And I can't remember what happened to them or if it ever got mentioned what happened to them, but I kind of wonder maybe she was one of them.
That would be cool.
That's why she's got a grudge against the de Rolos.
And Percy in particular.
Yeah, and Percy in particular. The pretentious P names sounded very much like a jab at Percy particular.
Yeah.
So I feel like she has a grudge against Percy. And Percy was part of Vox Machina, which would make sense with the bodies that were a message. Could be wrong. I'm wrong on most of my theories. So.
And there's a lot going on with links to Vox Machina.
Yeah.
Orym is, he's sent on his mission by Keyleth from Vox Machina.
Bertrand,
Bertrand
is
was
from the Search for Grog.
Search for Grog.
So he was with Vox Machina, and he's got a pin.
Technically a member, although probably not very highly regarded among them. Speaking of Bertrand, I think Travis is probably going to be a part-time player this campaign. I think he's probably going to be in and out, with Bertrand primarily functioning as an NPC, giving quests and that kind of stuff. So I look for Patrick. I look for Travis to probably exit at the end of this little mini arc here at the beginning, and he'll probably be out for a little bit after that. But what I do want to see for Bertrand Bell, and he's probably one of my least favorite player characters in all of Critical Role history, but I do think there's an opportunity with him to tell a really interesting story, because he's shady as hell and he's a coward, and overcoming those particular flaws
there's
is a really good opportunity
redemption
there.
Arc there.
Yeah,
Possibility.
and I really hope we get to see it. I hope Travis just isn't gone most of the time, and we never get to see any development with Bertrand. I would be really disappointed in that.
Yeah, I do hope we get a little bit of Bertrand. I don't like. I know a lot of theories out there think that Travis is going to play Bertrand, and then after that character, his character will get introduced. I don't think he has a character this campaign necessarily. Like Josh was saying, I do think he's going to be kind of in and out on whether he plays, and I don't know that Bertrand's going to be the only character he plays. I do think that there's a possibility he might play other NPCs and just kind of join in sporadically, but without like his own concrete character.
But Travis is the CEO of Critical Role,
Yeah.
and one of the jobs as effectively the boss is to make room for other people.
Yes.
And I could see Travis filling that role and
Yeah.
being more than happy to do
Like
it.
having 8 of them right now is okay, but I can see like if they decide they want to have a guest along with Robbie, Travis ducking out and letting the guest come in and fill that spot.
And there's some theories around of the EXU characters making an exit and Robbie, leaving to do EXU, and Liam and Ashley either leaving this campaign to just do EXU or bringing in other characters. I really have no idea what the plan is to do with those 3 characters. I will say Orym is growing on me.
Yeah, I like Orym and Fern both much better in this campaign than I did in EXU. They were actually 2 of my least favorite characters. I loved Opal, Dariax, and Dorian. Those were my 3 favorite characters. I loved those characters. Dorian and Dariax were...
Kitty cats.
Yes. Dorian and Dariax were my absolute favorite. Opal was a very close second. And then Fern and Orym, I enjoyed his characters, but just didn't really speak to me. I'm loving Orym this campaign, and I think I mentioned it in our first video. I think it's because Liam and Ashley probably kind of backed off on role playing to allow the new people who have never played D&D a chance to like really get in there and be in the spotlight and enjoy their first D&D game. And now they're not doing that because they're back with the regular group, and so they can role play the normal amount that they would normally role play, and it's absolutely showing.
What struck me in episode 1, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of it, is Liam has probably a better grasp of the mechanics of his characters than most any other D&D player out there, I think. He really knows how his characters work. And watching him play a fighter and all the different mechanics that fighters can do, we saw it in episode 1. I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. And, we've gotten, just from watching TikTok and reading articles and stuff, his original plan for Orym, if he sticks to it, it could be really, really interesting. And anybody who doesn't know, apparently, his original plan for Orym was after Vax died in Vox Machina, Orym was going to come in and basically counsel Keyleth in dealing with the loss of her one true love. And the reason he would be able to do that is because his husband apparently had passed away and he had gone through that grief, and he was going to counsel her through that. And if that backstory of his holds true, and that's what it's going to be, we are going to get to see Liam play his famously tragic character once again.
Yeah, and you know what, if he decides to change the backstory because that's a backstory that's out there and you might want something
People
different.
know it.
Yeah, that's totally fine. And if he doesn't want to do a tragic character, that's also fine. He doesn't have to do the trauma character. Just because he always does the trauma character doesn't mean that he has to. And if he wants to have a happy-go-lucky character who has everything going for him, then he should get the chance to do that. And I'm totally cool with that. Just having him really get into jumping into the spotlight and playing Orym, already feel such a
like
difference with this character.
in the warehouse in this episode.
Oh my gosh.
When he's just in pitch black, between the wall and some boxes, and Fern's banging on the door, and he's drawing his sword. What is happening? And then Laudna, messages. She's like, he has no idea what's going on.
It's adorable.
So, I can't wait to see what happens in this moment, because it's not like a super duper cliffhanger, but I am looking forward to see what happens.
Exactly. And I'm loving his attack descriptions. He's always been really good about that. That, like with Caleb, when he did like the components and like describe how he did stuff. I'm loving him. I jump up onto the bookshelf and I hang on, and then I take my sword and I bring it down. Like, I love his descriptions. And Dorian did not do this in EXU, but Dorian pulled a little Caleb in and actually pulled some components from his wing breastplate with an eyelash and touched it to his forehead. That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was so good. It was so good. Like, I even see Dorian or Robbie melting into his character and getting more in character, and even playing Dorian. Like, I already loved Dorian, and I love Dorian even more now because it's just melding together even better.
Yeah. I'm super into Imogen and her telepathic powers.
Yeah.
And basically telepathically talking to people without, I'm assuming without using a spell slot?
Yeah, it seems like some sort of ability of her subclass, and I think it's a homebrew subclass if I'm remembering correctly.
I don't remember the subclass.
Yeah, I think it's something that they've confirmed as homebrew, just like Ashton is a homebrew barbarian subclass. But it's like some sort of telepathic mind subclass where she can just open her mind without spending a spell slot, although she does have to make a save on that. And she can speak to people, although it does seem like there's a limit on that, and it seems like she can only speak to them as long as she can see them.
Which is cool.
Unless she has a connection established, and then she can do it for like 3 minutes after she can no longer see them. So like, that's really, really interesting, and I'm super excited about that.
You mentioned Ashton. I gotta talk about, I got a moment of very strong Molly vibes from Ashton in this episode. I'm talking about when Laudna was pickpocketing the drunk guy who passed out like right next to him outside the warehouse, and he had 3 copper pieces, and she's like, yoink, and he's like, put that back.
Yeah,
that's like, this guy, that's all this guy has. It's a dick move to steal 3 copper from this guy, and harkens back to Molly, and you don't steal from happy people,
and you don't steal from poor people.
You steal from assholes.
Yeah, and people who have more than they need.
Yeah.
And this isn't the only Molly vibes I've gotten from Ashton. Right at the beginning, when Matt described Ashton's room with the ruined tapestries all over the walls and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Immediately, I was like, he didn't get to play Molly, so he didn't recreate Molly, but he did have his character slightly inspired by Molly, and I kind of love it so much. Like, Ashton's obviously not Molly. They're not even remotely the same character, but I do see some inspiration there, and I love that he used Molly as an inspiration for Ashton.
And I want to spend just a quick moment talking about Fern, just still agent of chaos. Ashley's really leaning into it, and it's super fun. And just she's like, I kind of want to go into the warehouse. Like they didn't need her at all. No. She's just like, you know what? Nothing's happening. I'm gonna see if I can stir up some shit.
Yeah. And I feel like first of all, out of all of Ashley's characters already, I think Fern is my favorite, because it feels so different. Like, Yasha and Pike were completely different races and classes and stuff like that, but like, personality-wise, they had some very parallels. They weren't super
mannerisms
similar.
were similar.
Mannerisms were very similar. Yeah, they had different like personalities, but like their mannerisms and stuff were very similar. Fern is completely different, hugely different, and I love it. And it feels like Ashley's having a lot of fun with this character, so I really like that.
And I don't want to imply that Ashley wasn't invested in Pike or Yasha, but I get the sense that she's way more invested in Fern than she was in her previous 2 characters. Yeah. And that's not a slight on her in the other 2 campaigns at all. It's just I feel like Fern kind of has a special place in her heart, and it shows through.
If you play D&D, you know that sometimes certain characters you play and you enjoy playing them, but they're just not your character. And then you have one and you just fall in love with that character. And that's what Fern feels like with Ashley, and that's what Laudna feels like with Marisha. It just feels like they create these characters like, oh man, I love this character so much. This is my character.
Story-wise, they did split the party at the end of this episode.
Yes.
So that's going to give Matt a lot of opportunity to add some tension because, you know, Bertrand and Imogen, they went off on their own following Dennis.
Yeah.
So maybe Dennis is aware of them following.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean,
But I do feel like those two could be in some trouble.
Yeah.
The other ones, they're all together. They'll be basically fine.
Yeah.
It's Imogen and Bertrand. I'm like, ooh, what's gonna go on there?
Yeah.
Super excited for next Thursday. Oh my gosh.
I know.
Would love to know your guys' thoughts on this episode. Do you have anything to add?
I don't think so.
I think that's all I have, so that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already.
Leave some comments down below. Give us some likes. We'll see you next time.